Right, we are live on YellBRo Dark. We're continuing with the theme of ego and consciousness, and I'm basically going to play off the ego video I just did, kind of tailor it more towards politics and conditioning, right? To kind of match those up together. Before I get started, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links, all of them in the description box. Share, support them all. Do it. Sorry, I'm reading a comment. I was explaining. Okay. Thank you, Oz, for explaining. All right. So, this idea of conditioning, and the reason I'm tying that to the ego, because that's the thing that's, I guess you could say, being conditioned. It's, right, it's being impacted from, like I said in the ego video, from the external and internal content. They're both meeting in the ego. It has to negotiate these things. But it doesn't exactly, you know, operate as its own king thing until it's integrated with the full self. Hopefully that makes sense. That makes sense. Until it is integrated with the full self, it will be conditioned by environmental factors, along with unlooked at deeper internal factors. So something like a observing maybe a parent, right? Actually, let me break it up this way. I would say that your initial experience of the world, like as a newborn baby, although you are getting some form of internal conditioning as well, because, well, experience itself, right? Being alive, your consciousness, that observer, that itself is a conditioning factor within the ego. That's your first conditioning aspect. But then there's biological conditioning, which is the sensations hitting the body, or things you can smell or taste or sight, all of that. And then from there, the environmental conditioning, which is things that you are placing, that the ego, along with the ego, are placing as separate from you, and are conceptually playing a role in your life. Doesn't mean the concepts are always correct, right? You can, as a little baby, hit your leg or whatever on a table, and I don't know how you would do that, but you'd hit your leg on the table. You'd be like, "Ow, pain!" And then there's an emotional reaction to the pain, and then now all of a sudden, conceptually, pain and emotion are now attached to the table. Granted, that usually gets reconditioned out. Sometimes people hold on to it to some degree. You're holding on to aspects of it. That's 100% sure, but you may not always be afraid of table corners. But you'll definitely be cautious of it based on that experience. So there's your environmental conditioning. All of which is already being conceptualized. Then there's us trying to read another being, another conscious being, trying to express itself to us, and we have to compute all of its words, sometimes even more than words, like body language, which is also all these things that all of our experience are all accumulating to experience this one other person's perspective. And their perspective, even though you're not getting their exact perspective because they have their own baggage they're carrying with them, you are taking that in, and you are building a concept out of that. Not just of them as a person, but also the idea you think they're talking about. think it would be a special case if you can actually fully understand each other, like fully. Then that'd be some other shit, soulmate shit, or some godly, enlightened person shit. I do my best trying to catch up to that. So there you go. It's a sense of programming the ego, the little s. If you're shadow banned, You're programming it to behave in the world and internally. It's dark when it's doing that internally. That is how I'm going to take that concept and then try to relate it to something like politics. See, what I think happens a lot of times is going to be negative. I think most of this is going to be negative. Is they will take a concept or an idea, or sometimes a lot more likely, a person, a character. They will essentially recreate this character in their mind just based on observation and past conditioning. Right? A smile means nice, or suit means rich. Rich means safe because rich don't need to cause harm because they're rich. They already have stuff. Poor might harm me. Use other side of use other sidewalk. Fuck that joke up. But right, and then we have these politicians or thought leaders or commentators, strategists, and we start developing concepts about them that might not actually be the case. And we do this because we possibly, not even possibly, because other deeper aspects are ignored, where we get stuck in just the conditioned level of society told me that smiles mean nice person. That sounds stupid, but that's a factor. Like I said about finances, about having money, that's a factor. I've heard Rogan say this about they can't lie. He's talking about the New York Times. Well, he says that because he's like, well, if they lie, they'll get caught. If they get caught, they get fired, or they lose money, or whatever. It's like darker shit in the world, Rogan. But right, I'm simplifying it, but things like that of past conditioning that has happened by a society that's probably attempting to condition you. Let's be real about this. It's, in my opinion, creepers who have broken the conditioning, probably due to for a trauma or tragedy or something like that, or something that us normies would consider a tragedy. Uh, and then they, I believe, are attempting to condition people start thinking more like them. So when we see things like the way the schooling system works, or the way advertisements work, or the way even entertainment works, maybe like who gets to rise to the top, who doesn't, uh, all of fashion, style, like all these different genres and avenues that are part of your world as you're quote unquote maturing. Like you can see, seems like you could see, like there seems to be like a hand guiding things in a direction with all this stuff. Even the notion of debunking Christianity or atheist or whatever, right? The new atheists debunking religion so that we're to the smarter guy's side, or even something like you went to Harvard. There's another condition like I recognize Harvard as smart, so it must be smart. You went to Harvard or MIT or whatever fucking university. Like all of these conditioning factors that could all lead to pretty bad shit happening. I'm not looking at someone who doesn't go out of their way to attempt to navigate their own conditioning. I don't look at them as like evil. I look at them as like man, that seems like an ignorant, very ignorant thing to do, considering what you're claiming to want to fix. Which I'm talking about people in the political realm. Like, you want to fix a situation to where someone like Joe Biden became the quote unquote most powerful person in the world. Like, how does that happen? Is there an accident? Like, did that stuff accidentally happen? So it's like there's a lot of factors to consider, and I see a lot of times uh end up reverting back to, oh, there must be some sort of political reason or some sort of round table of creepy people sitting together and say, hey, let's make sure our type wins over and over again. And it's like there's some merit to that, but what are those types? Is it blood related? Is it family? We're born in this family. Maybe it's a type of thinking. And if that type of thinking is trying to influence you, what would they do? Maybe they try to buy you, not you, but you, like your style, how you act, collect data on it. Maybe sell it back to you. Say, hey, we're one of you. We're one of the cool kids. Hey there, fellow cool kids. Hello, JC Cat, 67. Cannabis, what's up? America is under the Prussian school system. But my God, is that to me? If it's not the biggest, it's one of the biggest things you'll hear me focus on in regards to politics. Because I mean, I used to speak about it much more during the campaigns. And I would put like certain terms on it. I'd say like something like team playing, fanboying, or I don't know, culture warriors, or like I'd put all these like dumb guy logic terms that like, yeah, okay, we kind of get what that is, but what is that really? What is someone that are ready to step in front of a bullet for someone they don't fucking know over ideas that if they really thought about are probably fucking stupid? What is that thing? Or even if their ideas do make sense, do you actually get to enjoy it if you're fanboying or team playing for it? What are you getting out of this? And it's like, a lot of times, it could just be a nice, comfy, warm blanket to hold on to because you haven't done the other work where you have to have that quote unquote chemical divorce, right? That kind of real separation between you and the world. And then that real separation between you and your ideas about yourself. And it's like, those are scary processes. Well, it can be. I don't know, maybe the darker types enjoy it more. I mean, oh my God, it's everywhere. Even like look at how people. I hear this a lot. Like, you don't understand shit. Why not? You're rich. People don't say this to me, right? I've heard that said, and it's like almost like a social representation of that of what I just talked about there. Like, and the darker types like are used to, uh, those things kind of sucking, right? Where things do suck, like almost atmospherically, and that's why they had that position. But at the same time, it's like, are you guys conditioned too? What if I change your environment around? Will you change? Conditioning by far is the most, well, I probably said this about other things, but conditioning, I think, deserves a lot more of our attention, especially if you claim to be fighting for good. How do you know you're fighting for good? How do you know that's you? Maybe you should be doing something else. Maybe you'd be better in this area. Very, very important. All right. I think I rambled enough. Done rambling. All right. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree. Tell me what you think. Uh, what is your idea of conditioning? Do you feel it, or if you have one, and do you how important do you find that to be in the realm of politics or any type of do-goody type of shit? Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery, to helping victims of Africom, the Cohen Daly, the Australian boy. Also support some content creators, Stevie, aka Red Economics. Happy birthday. Sleepy J, buy him a coffee, 2 scoops. And optionally, Ali Alexandra. All links in the description box. With all that said, give this video a stab.